Not every anime is made just to entertain. Some go deeper, exploring pain, fear, guilt, and the darkest corners of the human soul. These are seinen anime, mature, intense, and full of meaning. Stories that capture you not only through their plots, but through their messages. In this video, I'll show you 7 seinen anime that will give you goosebumps. Stories that will make you think, question, and even feel emotional. So leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Monster. The story revolves around Dr. Kenzo Tenma, a Japanese neurosurgeon living in Germany. He's respected, ethical, and believes that every life has the same value. But everything changes one decisive night. Tenma disobeys hospital orders and decides to save a young boy with a gunshot wound, instead of an influential politician. That choice seemed like an act of compassion, until the boy reappears years later as a serial killer. Johann Liebert. Johann isn't a typical villain. He's calm, intelligent, and charismatic. A man who can destroy lives with words, not weapons. But behind that disturbing calm lies a childhood scarred by trauma, experiments, and psychological manipulation that turned an innocent child into something empty. Johann grew up in a dark orphanage, where children were used in cruel experiments designed to mold the perfect mind. Cold, obedient, and without empathy. There, he learned the worst of human nature. Fear, abandonment, and indifference. All that remained inside him was emptiness. After saving Johann and seeing what he became, Tenma is haunted by guilt. He embarks on a desperate journey to fix the mistake he made, while being hunted by the authorities and drawn into a web of conspiracies, secrets, and moral dilemmas. From then on, Monster becomes a manhunt, not just between a doctor and a killer, but between good and evil within every one of us. As Tenma struggles to right his wrongs, he begins to ask himself, how can an ordinary human become such a cold monster? Monster is a deep, dark, and realistic psychological thriller, a reflection on morality, guilt, and the origin of evil. And in the end, you realize the real monster may not have been born that way. Perhaps it was created by human greed. Serial Experiments Lain. If Monster is a dive into the human mind, Serial Experiments Lain is a dive into the soul of the digital age. Lain is a shy, almost invisible teenager. She lives isolated without friends. Until one day, a classmate who had committed suicide sends her an email saying she's still alive. Inside the Wired, a network similar to the internet. From that moment, everything changes. Lain begins to explore the network and discovers that there, in the digital world, she's someone completely different. Powerful, confident, almost divine. But the more she connects, the more the line between reality and virtuality begins to blur. And what starts as curiosity becomes an existential collapse. Who is Lain? What is reality? Are we truly alive? Or just connected? Serial Experiments Lain isn't a typical anime. It's an experience. Every episode is symbolic, sometimes confusing, but full of hidden messages about loneliness, identity, and the impact of technology on the human mind. It was released in 1998, yet it feels like it predicted everything we live today. Screen addiction, social networks, and the loss of ourselves in this digital sea. When you finish Lain, you're left with the unsettling thought that maybe the real world has never been that real after all. Parasyte, the Maxim. A normal high school student, Shinichi, has his body invaded by a parasitic alien. But by chance, the parasite fails to take over his brain, and ends up trapped in his right hand. The result is a forced partnership, a human trying to preserve his humanity, and a creature trying only to survive. As the world is overrun by parasites that devour humans and disguise themselves among them, Shinichi must fight not only against them, but against his own fear of becoming one of them. Parasyte blends action and philosophy brilliantly. It's a story about coexistence, empathy, and the thin line separating man from monster. And in the end, you realize, sometimes the real parasites are us. Psychopaths. Now imagine a future where the government can measure your potential for crime before you even commit it. That's the world of psychopaths. Everything is controlled by the Sybil system, An intelligence that judges, punishes, and decides who is dangerous. But what if the system is wrong? Inspector Akane Tsunemori begins to question everything. She realizes the line between justice and oppression is thinner than it seems, and that perhaps the system created to protect is the real enemy. Psycho Pass is full of action, suspense, and ethical dilemmas. But deep down, it's about freedom, and how the absence of choice can be the greatest prison of all. Tokyo Ghoul. Few anime portray the conflict between humanity and monstrosity as intensely as Tokyo Ghoul. The story follows Kaneki Ken, a quiet, book-loving student whose life is turned upside down after a tragic encounter with a mysterious woman who turns out to be a ghoul. She lures Kaneki in, intending to devour him. But during the attack, steel beams collapse on both of them. He survives, but wakes up in the hospital to a terrifying discovery. Some of his organs have been replaced with those of a ghoul. But what is a ghoul? In this world, ghouls look just like humans, live among us, but carry a terrible secret. They can only feed on human flesh. They feel, love, and suffer like anyone else. But the simple act of surviving turns them into monsters in the eyes of society. And that's where Kaneki's real torment begins. He's human enough to feel guilt and empathy, but ghoul enough to feel hunger, instinct, and despair. Living between these two worlds tears him apart. He belongs to neither. Physical pain blends with existential pain. Hunger becomes a cruel reminder that to stay alive, he must harm what he swore to protect. And slowly, Kaneki realizes that it's not the body that defines a monster, but the choices we make when the world forces us to lose ourselves. With intense scenes, haunting music, and powerful symbolism, Tokyo Ghoul is a journey through identity, pain, and acceptance. A dark mirror of the struggle between who we want to be and what reality forces us to become. Vinland Saga. In Vinland Saga, we follow Thorfinn, a young Viking who lives only for revenge. His father was murdered, and since then, he's fought to kill the man responsible, the warrior Askeladd. But time and pain slowly change Thorfinn. The boy, consumed by hatred, begins to realize that true strength isn't about taking lives, but learning to forgive. Vinland Saga is brutal and emotional, a historical epic about honor, war, and redemption that shows that being free isn't about living without rules. It's about living with purpose. Elfen Lied. And finally, an anime that blends pain, love, and tragedy in an unforgettable way. Elfen Lied. The story follows Lucy, a girl from a new species of humans called Diclonius, beings with telekinetic powers and a violent nature. Since childhood, Lucy was tortured, humiliated, and used as an experiment. And everything she learned from the world was hatred. After escaping a laboratory, Lucy loses her memory and is found by two young people who care for her, not knowing who she truly is. In this new life, she becomes gentle, sweet, and even innocent. But deep inside, the other Lucy still lives, the cold killer shaped by pain. The contrast between these two personalities shows how much suffering can shape a person. Elfen Lied is about prejudice, loneliness, and the desperate need to be loved, even when the world rejects you. It's about human duality, the struggle between purity and destruction, love and hate, victim and monster. It's brutal, emotional, and full of metaphors about rejection, trauma, and the longing to be loved. It's a dark and heartbreaking anime, but deeply human, and it makes you wonder, if someone is born surrounded by hatred, is it really their fault if they learn to hate? These anime are so much more than entertainment. They're stories that explore who we are and what we can become. Each one of them will leave you thinking for days, and maybe change you a little on the inside. Tell me in the comments, which of these anime impacted you the most? Or which one will you watch first? Leave a like, share this video, and subscribe for more videos like this.